in the bottom right, may nakasulat live.
Yeah, and then we're live.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. Here we go.
Hello to all our viewers and listeners of the Freelance Blend podcast. This is my first time to use this BeLive.tv. Is a free software that you can use to stream through Facebook Live, tapos magmumukha siyang parang webinar. And I'm happy to introduce the guy, I think on my left, I'm not sure kung ano yung orientation nito on your screen, but beside me is Mr. Jason Dulay. He's the founder of Work From Home Roadmap and also the Work at Home Pinoy's Facebook group. Tama, di ba? So the website is Work From Home Roadmap and the Facebook group is Work at Home Pinoy's Facebook group.
Right.
And he's I just when we were talking earlier, he told me that he's actually a digital nomad na hindi ko alam I've been reading his about me page sa kanyang website. I thought he was really just based in Cebu, but actually he's a digital nomad and we'll talk more about that. But he's also basically a freelancer, started as a VA. And now, he's doing more of his online stuff like online courses and coaching. And now he's, yung pinaka-freelancing hat niya is SEO and Facebook ads. So without further ado, we'd like to welcome Mr. Jason Dulay. Hi, Jason.
Hey, Marv. Thanks for having me on the podcast. Really appreciate it to be featured on your show. And yeah, I'm excited to share my story and help inspire your listeners as well.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Alam ko we've been talking for the past few months and finally natuloy rin natin. And for those who just joined us or to those who will just watch the replay of this video, please, if you have comments, please type in below this post. We'll try to answer them even during this live broadcast and even after this broadcast. So again, thank you, Jason, for coming over to the Freelance Blend podcast and Freelance Blend page and being our first interviewee through Facebook Live. Now, you mentioned you're somewhere in another country in Asia. So, nasaan ka ba ngayon, Jason?
Well, right now I'm in Chiang Mai in Thailand. It's a hub for a lot of the digital nomads, especially right now because winter in the Western world. So a lot of digital nomads flock over here. It's a lot cheaper. It's cheaper than the Philippines even. Most cities in the Philippines, if you compare it to Manila or Cebu, it's cheaper here. Internet's very good. And yeah, it's very convenient. Even, myself as somebody who lived in the Philippines, I can say it's very convenient to live here. And I like it here. So we're staying here for a couple of months before we end our trip and go back to the Philippines.
So why Chiang Mai? Is it the best place talaga for digital nomads like you? Apart from Chiang Mai, ano pa bang ibang popular spots for digital nomads?
Well, Chiang Mai is probably the most cost-effective. That's what I would say. There are other popular spots like Budapest, Hungary. There's in the Czech Republic. What's the city called? I forgot the name. In the Czech Republic. There's Spain is a popular location. That's cheaper because in the States it's very expensive. So a lot of the DNs or a lot of freelancers and business owners try to move out for a couple of years or a couple of months and save a lot of money and at the same time travel the world.
Mm-hmm. So sa mga nabanggit mo na country, Budapest, Czech Republic, and Spain, ano na doon yung mga napuntahan mo as a digital nomad?
We were in Hungary a few months ago, and before that, Czech Republic. So those two we knocked down. Spain wala
Uh,
pa. Hopefully next year siguro
yeah.
we'll try going to Spain.
Mm. And yung nabanggit mo, these are European countries. Isn't it expensive or sinasabi mo cost-effective din sila doon sa countries na yon?
Those countries I mentioned are more of the parang Central Europe. So hindi siya ganun ka-expensive as much as like Western Europe or the US. It's more expensive definitely than Asia, like the
Uh-huh.
Philippines or
Talaga?
Thailand. Pero it's not parang na expensive. 'Cause you can dalawa kami and we can live on around, let's say 50,000 pesos a month.
Mhm. Okay, very very interesting kasi as I mentioned earlier, we haven't had digital nomad on the show. That's why I really wanted to ask. Maybe we can dive deep on that topic later. Baka meron tayong mga listeners sa freelancer who would like to become a digital nomad like you. Pero before we go into that, maybe they're interested on your beginnings, how you discovered freelancing and why freelancing?
So back in mga 2010 ata, I'm not sure of the year exactly, but back around 2010, I heard about this thing about working from home, working online, and I was working in the call center at the time. So it was very attractive na, okay, during the weekends or after shift, I could still earn some extra income. So yun, I found Odesk, blog. May mga forums kami in Cebu that were talking about things. So I found Odesk and they started offering work related to Excel kasi magaling ako sa Excel dati. Well, until today,
Okay.
magaling pa rin ako sa Excel. So I offered mga work with Excel, and I was also doing a lot of in the call center. I was doing a lot of QuickBooks stuff. So Excel, QuickBooks, data entry. Those were the kind of things I was doing initially. And eventually, I got hired by a game developer in California. They hired me to do random things lang as a virtual assistant kasi they ask you to do different things. Admin work, data entry. Minsan, she'd had me test mga games. So, while playing games, I was being paid. Pangit yung ibang games, but I was still doing it for work. So, okay lang naman. And then eventually, fast forward a few years later, I got tired of working in the call center, syempre, and I was earning already enough income to replace my income sa call center. At the time, it was fun because I had two incomes, diba? So
Yeah.
in the call center, I was earning, let's say, mga 40,000 pesos. And from freelancing, I was earning like 30,000. So at the time, parang 70K.
Yeah.
But I was working a lot then. So it was a lot. When I quit, I also wanted, I got bored. It's in my nature to look for fun things, even though I don't go out that much. But I went to Singapore, wala lang, just for fun. Not really for money, because I was already freelancing, so I was earning some money. I went to Singapore, also did freelancing on the side, and then also looked for a job. I got tired of that. I moved to the States then shortly thereafter. Also got a job, but I was earning already more from freelancing than the job I got in the States. So I quit that. And then more recently, came back to the Philippines. When I was in the States, I decided, I'll try this digital nomad thing. Came back to the Philippines. And then I started when I was in the Philippines. A lot of people were asking me about my freelancing kasi, when people would ask me, "Oh, anong ginawa mo?" I tell them, I work from home, I freelance, ganun. So they were asking me a lot of information. They asked me, "Oh, can you teach me?" Ganun. So that's how I started my educational blog, Work from Home Roadmap, where I have a lot of blog articles to help wannabe freelancers and existing freelancers to enhance their career, and courses to get people started. Those who want to start freelancing, those who want to start working from home to get them started. So I started that, and it's been growing ever since. We have a Facebook group of over 30,000 members. We have students more than I think more than enrolled in the past few months. So we've been doing really well, and I'm so blessed to be able to help other Filipinos, discover the world of freelancing um, through my site.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for sharing with us your story mo from freelancing up to what you do now. Pero I'd like to backtrack a bit. Yung part na from you were doing freelancing on the side together at the same time na nasa call center ka, and then you decided to go to Singapore and the States. So bakit mo
Yep.
naisipan is it because of you wanted to consider na yung to become an OFW, or is it doon ka na nahilig na doon mo na naisip maging digital nomad?
Well, at that time, I didn't know what a digital nomad was then.
Okay.
So I wanted to, Singapore, the reason I went to Singapore, going to Singapore at the time, parang it was becoming uso. And they were, parang
Yeah,
nainggit
yeah.
din ako na, uy, parang ganda yung Singapore, I'll just try it out. And it wasn't so much, well, I wanted to see if I could get hired in, but I was already earning, like I said. So I did get work, and for a while, as well as freelance at the side. So yeah, you could say I became an OFW. Same in the States. Well, the reason I left Singapore was that Singapore sobrang pressure. There's so much stress and so much pressure on you to work. So I didn't like the working environment there. And wouldn't stay there as a freelancer alone, just with my freelance income. Kasi ang mahal ng Singapore.
Mahal din, yeah.
Super mahal. It's like the US. So when I moved to the US, actually my
wait lang.
expenses in the US were cheaper.
Yeah, how long did you stay in Singapore? Katagal mo tiniis
Around a
yung
year.
pressure na yon? I'm sorry?
Around 1
medyo
year.
choppy. 1 year lang, okay. So from Singapore, you went naman to the States. Ano naman yung experience mo sa States? Where in the States in particular?
Virginia, near Washington, D.C.
Okay.
So it was also a busy area, also a bit expensive, pero mas mahal pa rin yung Singapore. That's what I can say.
Talaga?
My experience there was actually, if you're an employee in the States, it's a lot more relaxed compared to what I experienced in Asia. Iba yung culture nila when it comes to working. So I actually liked working there. Kaso at the time, I was also freelancing, and then I was building my network then sa freelancing. So I was already earning more from freelancing than I did at my job in the US. So I quit my job there, my part-time job, because I was doing freelancing, my part-time job, and then stayed there pa rin after I quit my job. Kaso that was the time I started to hear about digital nomads, and how they could travel the world. Parang it caught my attention, and I realized na I actually didn't need to stay in the States or anywhere in the world specifically. I could do my work from anywhere. So yun nga, I packed my bags again after 2 years.
Okay, tagal
2
din.
plus years in the States. I packed my bags and then went back to the Philippines, to Cebu, to it's a lot cheaper there. The weather is better. I hated the snow sa US talaga. The worst yung snow.
Yeah.
I know a lot of Filipinos say na, snow, ganda nun, pero it's the worst. Yun lang masabi ko.
Yeah.
So I came back to the beaches of Cebu. Yun ang nagustuhan ko.
Yeah. Pero tiga Cebu ka talaga, di ba? You were born in Cebu. Am I correct?
No, I was raised in Cebu. I was actually born in the US, so may ano ako.
Okay.
That's why I can freely travel there.
Okay.
Pero
So you have a green card,
yung
or you're a citizen?
yeah, passport, citizen.
Okay.
Pero I never grew up there kasi sinadya ng parents ko na doon ako ipinanganak. So after that, they
So,
just
yes.
went back to the Philippines.
So you have an option when you grow up.
Oo, to
Pero
do whatever. And
hindi mo rin na take advantage because of freelancing.
oo, it's the same. I mean, I can always go when I in the future, parang when I think about starting a family, ganun, it's an option. Pero mamaya na yun, we don't have a family pa. So mamaya na yun.
Okay. Yeah, siguro yung we talked about again yung journey mo from call center to freelancer. When you were starting sa freelancing space while you were working, you mentioned nakakuha ka ng job from this game developer. Was it easy for you to get clients? So parang sa story mo, parang it was easy for you to get those clients. Siguro, was it because you were early in the game, mga 2010, hindi pa ganun karami compared to now?
I'd say there are a number of factors. That's probably one of the factors then. Not a lot of people say that, you know, it was a lot easier back in the day when Odesk was still pretty new, wala pa yung Upwork.
Yeah.
And I'd say another factor is also one thing I'm good at is parang selling myself din. I'd say that sales is one of my skills. So that's when writing cover letters, when writing my profile, when during interviews, I was able to express na to make myself, I'd say, desirable ba sa client's eyes.
Yeah. So apart from hindi pa ganong karami yung competition on Odesk at that time, yun nga, you were good in sales, on selling yourself, sabi mo nga. How was it natural for you to sell yourself as a freelancer? Kasi for others, baka nahihirapan sila. So was it natural for you or parang dinevelop mo siya as a skill, yung selling your service?
So thankfully, when I was in the call center, I actually learned things in the call center that were useful to my freelance career. And one of them was the sales aspect. I hated doing sales, yung outbound sales.
Okay, yeah.
Pero I hated it because you call like 100 people, try to sell them something they don't want, and they hang up on you, they swear at you, and so on. But I did gain some skills. I did gain some knowledge about sales. Aside from that, I also did my own research, did my own studies about selling freelance services, and then parang yung mga sales scripts and so on. And I also developed that. So two things: what I learned in the call center and my own studies.
Mm-hmm. So everything you did on your own, yung improving yourself. Did you get mentors or did you get coaching, or were there resources that you read to help you become a better freelancer?
At that time, wala pa eh. Unlike today, there are resources. That's one of the reasons also I started my own thing, because walang resources when I started. There was nobody to help me out. And parang I didn't think of getting a mentor, and there were really no mentors available. Nobody had the years of experience to say that they could really help me. So I really had to help myself. It was tough. Kasi yun nga, there were no case studies, nobody to follow. But okay naman, it worked out.
Yeah. We have I think 5 people who are viewing us right now. If you have any questions for Jason, just please type in the comments. I'm not really sure if lalabas dito sa B-Live, but maybe Jason, if you can see it from the page, let me just check if there are people who are commenting. And if they can hear us properly, if they can view us, please let us know if there are technical problems. Baka tayong dalawa lang pala nag-uusap dito, Jason. So let me just quickly check. Yeah. Glenn Gallarde, he said, Jason Idol.
Kaibigan ko
Sa
yun si Glenn. So, yun,
okay. So
Cebuano yun.
sa page lumalabas yung comments dito. Ito ngayon dito pala sa dito sa Be Live sa ilalim.
Uy, ayan.
So thank you, Glenn. May question ka ba para kay Jason? Just type in your comments. Now you mentioned about work from home roadmap. Tsaka yung group mo na Work at Home Pinoy. So kailan mo na isipan na to teach what you've learned sa freelancing endeavors mo?
When I got back to Cebu, yun nga, I was doing freelancing, and then people I met, kasama dun si Glenn, would ask, oh, so
Okay.
what do you do? That's one of the things, diba? When you meet people, you ask, what do they do? Call center ba or whatever. I said, wala lang, just work at home, tambay lang sa bahay, basta sa internet lang. It was freelancing because didn't want to explain the whole freelancing thing. So they'd ask for more information, and then once they figure out what I do, a lot of them would ask for help. Like, so how do I do that? How do I get started with that? I want to do what you're doing. So from there, I gave some, you'd call it free coaching or whatever to a few people. And from there, I decided, hey, a lot of people seem to want to do this, want to do freelancing. And they want some help. They want some help in mentoring. Why I started Work from Home Roadmap. Started with a few blog articles, and then a course which I had mostly mga kilala ko lang when I first started the course, just to test out the modules. And when I found out that they really liked it, they said, "Wow, this is really good." And then that's when I sold it on the site as a course. It's been growing ever since. So very happy with that.
Yung course na sinasabi mo is the VA course that is that your first course, na parang flagship course mo?
Oh, the VA bootcamp, you can call it the flagship product. That's mainly that's the main course talaga, because it's the one to get people started in their freelance career. I have other courses, SEO, web design, pero they're more technical, more difficult, and more for people probably who already have experience freelancing. Yung mga no experience, walang alam, just heard about it or probably heard about it before but never tried it, would go to the VA bootcamp.
Okay, so just something that parang I thought about. Uy, biglang dumami viewers natin, 31 na. Hello guys, if you have questions, just type in below. Yung being a VA, kasi siguro may perception ng mga hindi pa alam kung ano yung VA, na this is for a job for females. So ikaw you started being a VA, tapos you're obviously a male. How did you continue or parang break that wall na sabi nga nila pang babae lang yan? So paano mo, and then siguro yun nga, sabi mo nga, yung selling, you're able to get clients, but starting as a VA, paano mo nagawa yun?
Well, at the time when I started, I had no idea na it was supposed to be for females na trabaho. So I didn't have any preconceptions na, hoy, pambabae itong trabaho na to. And wala lang, I just did the work. I saw na people were advertising admin work. And freelancing naman, I think it's just the population. We have more freelancers, especially in the Philippines, that are female. Yeah. The ratio is 1:4, based on my recent survey. 1:4 male to female population when it comes to freelancing. That's why there's this just thought na VA is for females, where in fact there are a lot of virtual assistants na lalaki. We have a lot of members of our course who are guys, even though same thing, mostly are female kasi mga stay-at-home moms. That's a very big parang reason why people want to go into freelancing or stay, working from home. But I don't see any I don't see any barriers
Yeah.
wherein a guy couldn't do virtual assistant work. If you can do, you can answer emails, if you can create Word documents, do research, do transcription, data entry, then you can do VA work. Doesn't matter if you're male, female, or whatever, or plant, or
Mhm.
root.
Okay. When, for example, na for those who are starting, tapos they don't know what type of freelance gig to do, would you suggest for them to follow your path, your roadmap, kumbaga, start as a VA
Mm.
and then branch out, get new skills? So would you suggest that?
Yes, that's why I really tell everybody when they ask, okay, what course should I take? I have no experience. I always tell them to enroll sa VA bootcamp because that virtual assistant work, para sa akin, it's the easiest thing to learn quickly. If you want to get started quickly, VA work's the easiest one compared to, let's say, web design or graphic design or programming, where you have to learn these skills. It could take months, it could take years for you to learn these skills. With VA work, it's admin work. Most people, in school, they learned how to use a computer. They can use Microsoft Word and Excel. They know how to browse the internet. They know how to Google. And my course basically enhances those skills, adds on a few others. And yeah, it's just the easiest to learn and get started within 1-2 months compared to web design, where you might study for 6 months
Yeah.
and you're competent enough to look for jobs.
Except na lang talaga if it's a skill that they already have. Like if they're a graphic designer already, for example, they're a graphic designer for a certain company, then go ahead, be a graphic designer. Pero yung, well, I get that a lot sa email and social media, how to start if they don't have the skills. So sabi nga ni Jason, you can be a VA first. It's one of the first steps na it's somewhat easier than the other skills na medyo advanced. So just curious, anong year ka nag-start? Kasi you spent 2 years in Singapore and a year in the States. So kailan mo na-start yung work from home roadmap na site? Mga 2014?
Last 2016.
Oh, okay.
Bago
So
lang.
1 year pa lang. Bago lang pala.
Mga 7 months, 8 months pa lang.
Well, that's good. Tapos, when I saw your site, talagang ang dami mo ng courses inside. And it's something that I know personally that is hard to do, creating an online course. And kudos to you for being able to build up that those courses. So may mga bumabati sa atin. Jesusita Ramos Soriano, hi. Hi din sa'yo. And Nims Robs, nice discussion. Thank you. Again, if you have questions, you can always participate. Wow, we have 72 viewers right now sa Facebook Live. Thank you for joining us. Now, siguro, if you can share with us, so especially yung creating these courses. So basically, para naging e-commerce entrepreneur ka na, an online entrepreneur, kasi you transition from being a freelancer na you work per hour, you're paid by the hour. Now you've duplicated yourself. In fact, you can work less but earn more. Something that I do for myself also with my first online course. So, siguro for people who would like to transition naman from freelancing and going into online business. So, what are your tips for them?
Well,
how can they start?
When it comes to online business, well, let me take a step back a little bit. When people want to say they want to start an online business, I also tell them it's good to start freelancing first. Because when I started freelancing, I did VA work, SEO, Facebook ads, online marketing. I learned a lot from my clients' businesses. while
Yeah.
I was doing the work for them, I saw what worked, what didn't. I had clients who their business failed because they were doing things wrong, and I learned from them then. So I had a lot of learnings, and this wasn't my first business endeavor. I've had before and I failed then. So
Mhm.
it takes a lot of learning. If you want to transition from a freelancer to becoming a online entrepreneur, then learn as much as you can while you're still a freelancer. It's the learning experience that
Yeah,
you have to
yeah.
do. And then when when you transition into an online entrepreneur, there are so many different areas that you can do. There's e-commerce, there's Amazon FBA, there's online courses. You can offer your own products and services. Um, and eventually you'll figure out what you want to do. But right now, just learn. Number one, learn, and then I forgot a step. Learn, and then as you transition into an online entrepreneur, the first thing you can do is start your own business as a freelancer, because that's what I did then. I started my own website offering my freelance services. So outside mga Upwork, mga freelancer.com, I started offering my own on my own site. So that was before I transitioned into offering a different kind of service. I offered my freelance service on my website.
Okay. So yung pinaka next step mo was to jump out of the platform and get your clients directly para you maximize your income. Wala na yung fees ng marketplaces na yon.
And you learn a lot when you're marketing because you're marketing for yourself. Now you're not relying on when you're relying on the platforms, they do the marketing for you, they do the matching for
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
But if once you get out of the platforms, it's a whole different ball game altogether. You're doing your own marketing, your own designs, like your own writing. You are really starting your business, and you're gonna learn a lot from there. Then,
Yeah.
before you transition into, let's say, becoming offering online courses or becoming an Amazon FBA or
Yeah.
dropshipper or whatever.
Yeah. Now, siguro sa ating mga listeners, sabi ni Dianor, failures are just stepping stones to success. Ika nga. Tama. And I think na after listening to what you shared, siguro yung mga mag-start pa lang to freelance and you want to become online entrepreneurs, maging intentional sila when it comes to getting clients. So yung siguro yung sinabi mo na you learn from your clients. So if you want to become let's say an online entrepreneur, then kunin mong clients would be yung mga online entrepreneurs, yung mga internet marketers. I'm sure ang dami niyan, and you parang mangyayari, you get paid, and at the same time you learn. So kasi most likely you will have access to applications or software that are expensive. Na let's say yung pinag-usapan natin kanina, lead pages, it's very expensive, about $40 a month. So ako, I use
Yep.
lead pages for my business. But if you're starting tapos wala kang budget, if you want to learn those software, then if you're a freelancer tapos meron kang client who uses lead pages, then you can play around with it. So tama ba, Jason? That's how you learn?
Yeah, and not just the software, not just the tools, but actually business acumen. Where when it comes to running a business, dealing with situations, because these are things that I'd almost say can't be taught. The things we learn when running a business, and the things we can learn from our
Yeah.
clients. Like we can teach so much theory about design a good website, right?
Yeah.
Post, ganun, lead pages, marketing funnels, and so on. Pero when it comes to running a business and dealing with everyday situations, that's something you don't expect. And if you just jump in right away, and you're not ready for it, there's a good chance that you're going to fail. Just that's the bad news. So, learn from the clients as much as possible, and then slowly transition. Don't jump right away. Just slowly transition.
Yeah. And I'm sure if you have built a relationship with that client na, let's say he's a big name in the online space and he's an online entrepreneur, can also ask questions directly na most likely yung mga meron yung coaching program na you'll pay thousands of dollars just to be able to ask a question. And if you are close na kayo, then you can ask those questions, and I'm sure that client will share naman his tips and strategies. So that's a very very valid point, Jay. So now siguro we're down to our last few questions. Yung topic that I'm very interested is yung sabi natin kanina, you're now a digital nomad. So so you nakita mo yung siguro, or you learned about that when you were in the States. So bakit mo naman naisipan maging digital nomad, and weren't you scared na to parang leave the comforts of home and na tapos become, alam yon, yung going to different countries, different places. So wasn't it scary at the start?
It was scary, pero I don't think I've ever really settled in a place. Like sa family namin, we used to live in Iloilo. We moved to Cebu, and then we'd rent lang. We never owned the house. We rent, so we moved a couple of times. And then when I moved to Singapore, I moved to the States. In the States, I stayed in a couple of different places. So I never really had that parang, I'd say, too much security in one place. So when I started started with the digital nomad thing, it was scary naman. That, you go in these different countries. Some of these barely speak English. But it was more exciting, I'd say, just to see these different places, just to be there, just to feel the culture. I'd say it's more excitement than fear. That's why I was able to do it. I realized, that I didn't need to be in one place to keep earning. So why not? While I'm still young, while I don't have a family, why not just take advantage of what I can? So that's when I took the plunge.
Yeah. Na baka lang meron sa mga nakikinig sa atin na who don't know what a digital nomad is. So can you briefly explain what it is, and if they want to start becoming one, what are your hacks or tips for them to start?
So if you want to become a digital nomad is basically somebody who works online and doesn't need to stay in one physical place at a time, as long as may internet.
Okay.
So these can be programmers. There are a lot of digital nomads na programmers kasi they just need to code. As long as may internet, okay naman. Freelancers and online entrepreneurs. Those are, I'd say, the three biggest groups. Also, iba, mga lists, mga writers can be considered digital nomads as well. And because we don't need to be in any particular place at any point in time, all our work is online. We can just go anywhere, as long as, I said, may internet. So if you're a newbie or a wannabe digital nomad, my advice is try traveling the Philippines first. Well, check first if may internet yung place na puntahan mo. That's like the number one most important thing. May internet.
Fast
That's
internet.
the problem. Oh, fast internet. Hindi yung 2 Mbps, 1 Mbps na that's not going to be enough for you to maintain your work. And that's the biggest problem actually sa Philippines. That's why we like staying here sa Thailand. Anyway, try traveling sa Philippines muna. There are, Cebu has good internet in places, and so on. And if Manila, of course, a lot of places in Manila, Laguna or whatever, just travel the Philippines first. And before you venture out of the country, or before you even start doing digital nomad, make sure you're earning at least, I'd say, to be comfortable, earn at least 50K a month. So yeah, you have to be at least at that level. That if you're traveling the Philippines, that gives you enough allowance to still save up a little and still be able to travel comfortably. And outside the country, like in Asia, 50,000 pesos a month is pretty much okay.
Kaya.
If you want to travel Europe and US, well, Europe, you need more. US, you need more din.
Okay. When you say 50,000, net na ba yan or gross at least of, yeah, gross. Meaning, hindi mo pa tinatanggal yung mga, lahat ng mga living expenses.
Wala expense. So gross living expense.
Gross talaga.
Live on, you can live on 50,000 in Asia. Like Thailand, Malaysia, except Singapore. Vietnam, Laos, pwede.
Per person yan. So, kung couple kayo, dapat 100, tama ba? Or kaya ng 50 ang
Hindi.
couple?
Actually, kaming dalawa, 50.
Okay.
50K.
Okay, that's good. And especially if you're based in the cities like the big, like Metro Manila, tapos pupunta ka sa province, so mas madali kang mag-adjust kasi sanay ka sa mataas na standard of living sa Pilipinas. So those are good points. Now we'll open the floor. We'll answer yung mga questions nila sa'yo, Jason. So sabi ni Janelle, what are your tips for new VAs? I think you were able to answer that, but siguro shortly, can you answer yung question na yun, Jason?
Sure. Well, my number one tip would be, well, there are a couple of tips, and never mind. Couple of tips. Learn what you can, and then enhance your skills, and try to master a specific skill area. Once you find out what you're good at, once you find out, okay, maybe I can do web design, and then you find out you're good at web design, then focus on it, master it, become a master at a specific area. Even if it's something like Microsoft Excel and you master it, you do pivot tables, you can create macros and so on. If you become a master at your craft, you become much more marketable. But if you want to start your own online business, then you have to learn how to become a jack of all trades. So depending what your objectives are. If you want to start your own business, learn marketing, learn sales, learn business operations, and so on. But if you want to focus on freelancing more, find your strength and then become a master at it.
Okay. Yeah, very good points. Yung mga sumunod kasi more of there are comments. We won't be able to answer unless may humabol na question. But before, so unfortunately we have to go now. But we will still answer questions. Ako, if you just, I'll check on the page from time to time sa post if you have other questions, and maybe Jason can answer also. But before you go, Jason, your final message to our freelancers and online entrepreneurs, and also tell us where they can find you. How can they join your program?
Final message. Hindi naman, wag naman final message. Parang ano yun, masama yun.
Your message na lang. Okay, erase na erase. Your message to our freelancers.
For newbie freelancers, it's really tough. That's what I'm gonna say. It's tough, but your own success will depend on yourself, nobody else. On your perseverance, on your determination, on your able to adaptability to situations. It'll really depend on yourself. If you fail, you have no one else to blame but yourself. If you succeed, you have no one else to thank but yourself. So it's really in your hands when you're a freelancer, and that's tough for, I'd say, even experienced freelancers to handle. And that's why a lot of freelancers don't succeed, don't progress because of that. So even as online business, I know some of your listeners are more on the online business side. It's really up to you to be able to succeed or to fail. That's my, I'd say, harsh remarks for your listeners. Where people can find me, they can go on my website where I have the blog and courses, wfhr.io or workfromhomeroadmap.com, whichever you prefer. And we have a Facebook group of more than 30,000 freelancers over at Home. So one of those.
Yeah. You got naging medyo naputol ka. You broke You broke up. You mentioned yung ano let how can they join the Facebook page? Facebook group?
Just search for Work at Home
Work,
Pinoys.
work at home Pinoys. Maybe
Yep, and
later,
there's
Jason, yeah, you can type in sa comments yung mga links
okay.
so that people can find you. And thank you very much. We really learned a lot. I'm sure we have about 80 plus viewers kanina, almost 90. Thank you for joining us. We'll make this a regular thing sa Freelance Blend. Even Jason, I think he's also doing Facebook Live. So please follow Jason sa links na sinabi niya. We'll post that in the comments below. For the podcast, you can listen to a recording of this. Just go to freelanceblend.com and then you'll be taken to my homepage where you can find more about Freelance Blend and the podcast in that website. And again, before we go, thank you very much, Jason, for joining us. Ingat ka dyan sa Thailand. And I hope we see you. You're coming home sa March. Maybe we can do something like join our meetup so that our followers can meet you and maybe get tips from you and learn more from you when it comes to freelancing, online business, and being a digital nomad. So thank you, Jason. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, and thanks for having me, Marv. You have a good day.
Thank you. You too. To our listeners and viewers, thank you very much, and peace to everyone. Bye.